Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto the Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shlavyasadev, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad Bhagvatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14, Ideal Family Life. Very, very important topic for everyone. So, yesterday, Ramya Prabhu gave the class about text 37 and 38. So, we were discussing about the Paramatma aspect of the Lord and how the Lord guides, but we also read that the Lord will not guide to any Tom, Dick and Harry. So therefore the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra are like the external manifestation of the Paramatma, so that less intelligent, less sincere people like myself can take shelter of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra and understand what Paramatma really wants to convey. So with that, let's move on to the next verse, text 39. Drishtva tesham mitho nrinam avjanantam nripa tritadishu harir archa kriyayai kavibhi krita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear King, when great sages and saintly persons saw mutual disrespectful dealings at the beginning of Treta Yuga, deity worship in the temple was introduced with all paraphernalia. Purport. It is stated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 12.352, Krite yadhyayato vishnum tretayam yajato makhaha dvaparye paricharyayam kalautad hari kirtanad. Whatever result one obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapar Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, one can also obtain in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In the Satya Yuga, every person was spiritually advanced, and there was no envy between great personalities. Gradually, however, because of material contamination, with the advance of the ages, disrespectful dealings appeared even among Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Actually, an advanced Vaishnava is to be respected more than Vishnu, as stated in the Padma Purana. Aradhya Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam Param. Of all kinds of worship of the Lord Vishnu is the best. Tasmad Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. And recommended more than worship of Vishnu is worship of the Vaishnava. Formerly, all activities were performed in connection with Vishnu, but after Satya Yuga, there were symptoms of disrespectful dealings amongst Vaishnavas. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that a Vaishnava is he who has helped others become Vaishnavas. An example of one who has converted many others into Vaishnava is Narad Muni. A powerful Vaishnava who has converted others into Vaishnavas is to be worshipped, but because of material contamination, sometimes such an exalted Vaishnava is disrespected by other minor Vaishnavas. When great saintly persons saw the contamination, they introduced worship of the deity in the temple. They began in Treta Yuga and was especially prominent in Dwapar Yuga, Dwaparye Paricharyayam. But in Kali Yuga, worship of deity is being neglected. Therefore, chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is more powerful than deity worship. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set a practical example in that he did not establish any temples or deities, but he profusely introduced the Sankirtana movement. Therefore, Krishna consciousness preachers should give more stress to the Sankirtana movement, especially by distributing transcendental literature more and more. This helps the Sankirtana movement. Whenever there is a possibility to worship the deity, we may establish centers, but generally we should give more stress to the distribution of transcendental literature, for this will be more effective in converting people to Krishna consciousness. It's a longer purport. I'll stop so someone else can read the last paragraph. So, from the Paramatma discussion, Narad Muni now is talking about the deity worship. That and keeping in mind that this chapter is entitled Ideal Family Life. So that was the question asked to Narad Muni by Yudhishthir Maharaj. So he's addressing, my dear king, that deity worship with paraphernalia was introduced, and that is a process the for the primarily for the Dwapar Yuga, but it's also important in Kali Yuga. Yes, Sankirtana is the most important. Kali Yuga is the age of Sankirtana, and therefore Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada, and all the teachers primarily stress on Sankirtana. And even deity worship is not complete without Sankirtana, because in all the artis we sing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In all, whether it's morning arti, evening arti, afternoon arti. So amongst all the mantras, the most powerful mantra is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So yes, we should emphasize on uh, the Sankirtana movement, as Prabhupada is mentioning here. And I really like this example of Narad Muni. Prabhupada is comparing Narad Muni as a great soul and like a Paraspathar, like Chintamani jewel. Paraspathar is like, the iron touches gold, that's precious jewel, the precious gem, and that iron turns into gold. So that iron is compared to a non-devotee, one who has no faith in bhakti, no faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. But when such person comes in contact with the jewel like Narad Muni, that person becomes a devotee. Many, many examples are there. Mrigari's story we have discussed many, many times. Chitraketu Maharaj, Valmiki's, was Daku Ratnakar. So many examples. Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, they are all disciples of Narad Muni. So Narad Muni is powerful Vaishnava. So let's complete the purport and then we may take some more reflections. So Umesh Prabhu, you want to complete the purport?
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to everyone. It is said in Srimad-Bhāgavatam 11.2.47, Archayam eva Hare, Ujjam ya sriddhayate, Nata bhakteshu, janeshu, sabhakta prakriti smrutya. A person who is very faithfully engaged in worship of a deity in the temple but does not know how to behave towards duty or people in general is called a Prakrita Bhakta. or Kṛṣṇa Adhikari, a Prakrita devotee or Nafai devotee is still on the material platform. He certainly engages in worshipping the deity, but he cannot appreciate the activities of the pure devotee. It is actually been seen that even an authorized devotee who is engaged in the service of the Lord by teaching the mission of Krishna consciousness is sometimes criticized by Neophyte devotees. Such a Neophyte are described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, Sarva Prani Samana Samarthanam Avajana Pradhati Matam Tu Bhagvata Prati Niva Pratim Etiha. For those who cannot properly appreciate the activities of authorized devotees, deity worship is the only way for spiritual advancement. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 7.11, it is clearly said that Krishna Shakti Vina Nae Kare Para Parantana. Without being authorized by Krishna, one cannot reach the holy name of Lord throughout the entire world. Nevertheless, a devotee who does so is criticized by Nephi devotee Kṛṣṇa Adhikaris who are on a lower stage of devotional service. For them, deity worship is strongly recommended. So, to be understanding Prabhu here, how important this deity worship is. And I sometimes felt in my life that uh, basically going in the temple every Sunday, we may go sometime, we may not go sometime. That is not enough for me to come to the closer to the Lord. And that is the one of the reason basically I decided to go for the deity worship so that I can feel myself uh, very close to the Lord. And without having a devotees association and sadhu sangha, I cannot really progress in this life. And that I do understand at this stage of the life. So that is why I believe deity worship is the best. And even if sometimes we cannot go to the temple, you can do at your home. And I, Shubha Vilas Prabhu, I sincerely thankful to you that you have done that service at my place. I'm very grateful to you. You have been really so many times with us, and I really inspired by you, Mataji, and decided to have the deities at my house. And I genuinely, me and my wife and my entire family, very grateful to you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Shravu. So I'm sharing the picture of Shravu's deities that were installed yesterday. So can everyone see?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we had a nice program and a lot of devotees came, and it was, of course, this is just one glimpse. Vijayanath Chadanath Swami Maharaj has named them Nitai Gaur Hari. Such a beautiful name. Nitai Gaur Hari. So it was a really amazing ceremony. So the idea here is there are 5 things we have discussed: A, B, C, D, E, and D is deity worship, and also referring to diet, taking Krishna Prasad. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtana Bhagvata Shravana Mathura Vasa Srimurti Rashathaya Sevana Shri Murti and Shraddhaya Sevana. So worshipping the deity with faith. So having the right understanding is important. Yes, of course, here it's mentioned that when a Prakrita is one who, okay, deity is great, deity is deity, and then forgets the devotee. That's wrong consciousness. Oh, I'm busy, so busy with the deity that I don't have time to serve the devotees. Krishna will not be happy because Krishna is saying here in this text that Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. More than the worship of Vishnu is the worship of the Vaishnava. I'm reading from the purport, exact as it is. So Krishna, and then one more, Mad Bhakta Pujyadika. So if we discuss the example of a father and son or a child and a parent. So more than the Lord likes his devotee to be worshipped or glorified. That does not mean that we ignore deities. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Loknath Goswami, our Srila Prabhupada established so many temples. They had their own deities. Loknath Goswami was carrying deities. They were talking to deities. They were doing so much for deities. Yet at the same time, not in the neophyte understanding. They give all respect to devotees. They give all respect to others based on their level of spiritual advancement. So that is recommended because I am neophyte. And for neophyte, and not even for neophyte, the Goswamis are not neophyte, but there's because we need higher attachment, higher taste, higher engagement, and the Archa Vigraha brings that in our life. Of course, we should not compromise on the other limbs of bhakti, but a nice, healthy balance is required. Maintaining our minimum number of rounds, maintaining our sadhana, our reading and hearing, and also worshipping the deity will connect us to Krishna more. As per Srila Rupa Goswami, Sakala Sadhana Shrestha, amongst all the sadhana processes, 64 limbs, Sakala Sadhana Shrestha A Pancha Alpa, Pancha Anga. The 5 limbs are most glorified. Pancha means 5. Krishna Prema Janmaye Panchir Alpasanga. So, Krishna Prema will awaken in the heart of whom? Of someone who is doing all these elements, namely the 5 elements of bhakti. So therefore we have to take Srila Prabhupada's words in the right context. And one devotee shared this with me, and I'm going to share this with you. Some places from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam where Srila Prabhupada is talking about deity worship. So maybe someone can read the first one. Yes, Kashish Mataji, please read this first one. Do you see on your screen?
Ji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Should I start from devotional service?
Correct.
Ji. Devotional service is very simple and anyone can adopt it. Let one remain what he is. He need only install the deity of the Supreme Lord in his house. The deity may be Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayana. There are many other forms of the Lord. In this way, a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra can worship the deity with the results of his honest labor. Regardless of one's occupational duty, one should adopt one should adopt the devotional means of hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, offering everything to the Lord, and engaging in his service. In this way, one can very easily engage himself in the service of the Lord. When the Lord is pleased with one's service, one's mission in life is fulfilled. Shall I read more, Prabhuji?
And
Or
maybe we'll ask others also. So
ji.
the idea is that all these are quotes from the Bhagavatam itself, but sharing about deity worship. So we don't need to change our family. Simply installing deities, and initially Shri Gauranitai deities or Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani deities are recommended because they're more merciful. And I am neophyte. I don't have that high level of rules, regulations, and processes and devotion in my heart. But I aspire to get that. A desire is there, a sincere desire. Lord, I am very sinful, but you have manifested in this deity form to accept service from a sinful person like me. That's the thought of a devotee offering any items of service, whether it is bhoga. So deities are not, we should not consider deities, whether it is like lamination or marble deity, wood deity, as food purifying machine. As Gorgopal Prabhu came to our college and he said that deities are not food purifying machine. Oh, we put the food and material becomes spiritual, the karma goes away. That's not why we have deities. We have deities to express our love. To express, and the love is expressed through the medium of ingredients, whether it is offering chanting. One devotee told, even if you chant sincerely in front of deities, they're very happy. That's the biggest offering we can do. Then offering patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, etc. We must do based on the best of our situation. And all those things, the main ingredient is our love and devotion. So Prabhupada is encouraging here. So let's read the next piece. Kirti Mataji, you want to read this next piece? Vaswati Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
Okay, sure.
So that is from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 4.20, Prabhu, right? Okay. Deity worship should be continued along with the hearing and chanting. Therefore, every mantra is preceded by the word Namaha. In the mantra, there is a specific potencies of which the Grihastha devotees must take advantage. There are many mantras preceded by word Namaha, but one chant the holy name of the Lord, he received the result of chanting Namaha many times. Can I stop here, Prabhu?
Sure, you can read maybe one more.
Okay. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 7.5, 23 and 24, perfect. Especially for a householder, devotees who are opulent in material possession, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5, 23, 24, perfect, continue. Thus, the duty of every to household to install deity of the Lord at the home and to begin the process of worshipping along with all his family members. This will save everyone from such unwanted activities as going to clubs, cinemas, and dancing parties, and smoking and drinking, etc. All such nonsense will be forgotten if one stresses the worship of the deity at home. Okay,
Thank
Prabhu,
you.
I will stop here.
Thank you so much, Mataji. And thank you for welcoming Gaurmita at your home. So, few points here that we should not stop chanting, reading, hearing. Okay, now I have deities, now I don't need devotees. That's not the mentality. Oh, now I don't need Bhagavatam. Now I don't need to chant. I have Krishna in my house. Krishna will not stay in the house where Harinam is not happening, where Bhagavatam is not read, where people are fighting with each other for petty things. But Krishna will happily stay in that house where everyone is congregating, chanting, reading Bhagavatam. And, and that's the whole purpose. That's why he has appeared. So and that's why the deity worship process was started. Because even the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas were disrespectful and kind of quarreling. We read from this verse. So all the quarrel will go away in the home. All the arguments will go away in the home. They'll say, hey, deities are present. How can you talk loudly? Right? Will you talk loudly in front of a respectable person? Never. Will we shout at some other person in front of a respectable person? At our husband or wife? Or will we be unkind towards our children if deities are present? Basically, the whole consciousness will be transformed. Hey, deities are present. How can you say like this? Deities ke saamne, right? Our mood will change. That's what is Krishna consciousness. So, reading, hearing, chanting must continue. And all our wealth, we should use to serve the deities. Prabhupada is encouraging that. Now, everyone whoever is like hearing this, is not in a situation that you have to worry, will I get food tonight? So some opulence everyone has. We are not in like sleeping on the streets, at least. All of who are present here or who are even hearing at either live or at some other point. So now I recently shared some pictures also, like someone was doing deity worship with a small picture in a in a plastic can. Can we imagine the heart? Because so showing that Krishna, that he wanted to express his devotion. So he all best he could do was get a plastic can for the picture he had and cut it and make like a small temple. So now someone can do that. Someone can offer silver jewelry to the Lord. Someone can offer gold jewelry to the Lord. If we wear gold, Vaishnava deities wear gold. Some devotees do that. It's very high standard. But yes, if we say, you are my pradhan, you are my life and soul. So if someone is our life and soul, like the father, the husband would do with would not buy clothes for himself, we would buy clothes for his children first, or the dear ones first, or would give them, the parents would give best things to their children, and even if they have to stay hungry. Correct? So that should be the ideal standard. If I am eating something nice, why should I not give? If I'm getting nice clothes, let me get nice clothes for my deities. If I'm getting nice ornaments, why should I not get nice ornaments for my deities? If I am hungry, will my deities not be hungry? As Krishnanand Prabhu told me that when you're getting deities installed in 2017, you take care of them, they'll take care of you. So the idea is that, and Prabhupada is mentioning here, that it will avoid unwanted activities. Otherwise, our consciousness, our wealth, our mood will be focused more on drinking, parties, cinemas, movies. But deities will make us more organized. His Grace Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu, and he's a disciple of Visual Radhanath Swami Maharaj. They have extraordinary deities, extraordinary love, extraordinary chanting, extraordinarily example of family life in Grihastha ashram, and so much. And we can share, and they're doing so much. Everything they're just doing perfectly how an ideal Grihastha must do. So, and they have extraordinary deities as well. Because deities regulate us also. Deities, we should try to regulate our lives by, it's time to wake up the deities, it's time to put deities to rest, it's time to offer food to deities. So when we centered our life around deities, around Krishna, around chanting, so based on how we approach, deities are very merciful. They will reciprocate. They'll guide us. Maybe just two more quotes and then move on if time permits. Is Vaswati Mataji on too? Yes, Vipul Prabhu wants to do.
Bharatini Devi, Dandavat Pranam. As Srimad-Bhāgavatam 7.5, 23-24 part 1. Especially for the householder devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu, forms like Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, or Sitaram, especially, or any other form of the Lord like Nrsimha, Varaha, Gaur Nitai, Matsya, Kurma, and Shalagram Shila.
Yeah, this one also, Prabhu. If one,
Okay.
one above.
The nectar of devotion 13. If one does not personally worship the deity but engages paid servants instead, he is considered lazy. And this worship of the deity is called artificial. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All these are from our core scriptures, Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion. So again, Prabhupada saying that every household, especially the householders, because householders have little more freedom. And because brahmacharis ideally live in the ashram of their guru. And sannyasis are traveling and pretty much dependent or on Krishna, and they are already very, very elevated souls. And Vanaprastha also, they are quite elevated. And but majority of the population is in householder where there is more freedom. So that freedom can be misutilized as well if the focus is not strong. So therefore Prabhupada is mentioning, especially for householders. I mean, there could be nothing as clear as this. Deity worship is strongly recommended. This is Prabhupada's word as it is. So Radha Krishna deity, basing after discussing with senior Vaishnavas, their Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, if they are initiated, etc., worshipping the deities under direction, and especially Gaur Nitai deities in our ISKCON are really recommended, and one must try one's best. And the other point here is not engage paid servants. Okay, I'll sleep, I'll pay, and now in US it may be even very difficult, which is a good thing that one has to kind of do everything oneself. It makes one not lazy, but one should not engage paid servants and sleep oneself. The idea is that the kings were called Raj Rishis in the previous times. Even in the, if you go to Jaipur and other places, the center of their palace, basically that's what Radha Govind Mandir is. The center of the palace. It's such a big. It has the name in Guinness Book of World Records also. Radha Govind Mandir in Jaipur. If you go there, you were fortunate to go last year. So that's basically the center of the palace. The Hava Mahal and Jai Mahal, all the palaces around it. So people go to, like 90% people go to all these mahals around and all the historic, but very few people go to the Radha Govind temple. Of course, devotees do come, but the percentage is small. So the idea is, yes, one must try to do as far as possible oneself. And I can share this document. The idea is, again here is that Prabhupada is encouraging that Grihastha must adopt Archana Vidhi and the directions and do deity worship and continue to chant, etc. So these are some quotes from Srila Prabhupada about deity worship. And this will remove all the difficulties, all the arguments, etc. as we discussed. Anyone wants to share any reflections on that? Do you all agree with what we discussed, or is this seems to be like a fairy tale? Any thoughts or comments?
Yes, Prabhuji, that is very practical. I have seen we pay more attention and we are more careful, like what we are talking, or it's actually good. You'll the anger and frustration and all will reduce. Yeah, it's a good, very good sign, Prabhuji.
Thank you for sharing your realizations. Any other comments or questions around this topic of deity worship? Recently, Bankim Prabhu also, but now he's joining. I can just see Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Marani, and I've seen how with so much love they're offering so many dresses and pagadi, the head, what do you call it, turban for the Lord, garlands, bhoga. The whole consciousness transforms. Yet at the same time, you have to keep Prabhupada's instructions, and you have to see the scriptures in a wholesome perspective, not taking just one statement from anywhere. Hey, Prabhupada is saying that only the neophytes do deity worship. And one can misinterpret that. Or somewhere else, Prabhupada will say, well, Grihasthas must do deity worship. And if one only tells that, hey, Prabhupada didn't say, well, Grihasthas must do deity worship, that's all I'll do. Forget everything else. So taking just one line from somewhere and not trying to understand the whole perspective and mood of Prabhupada may lead to wrong conclusions. So therefore, we have to look in the wholesome picture. Deity worship is no doubt very, very important. There's absolutely, we read so many references. At the same time, one should not disrespect devotees or ignore devotees or not serve them or ignore the Harinam, ignore Bhagvatam or ignore, that will not please the deity. Or fight at home, that will not please the deity. Will husband, wife, children will fight in front of, let's say if their parents are present, or if some special guest comes, will anyone fight? Will any family member fight with anyone else, or even speak harshly, or be even disrespectful? So that's the consciousness we have to try to. I'm saying this all for myself, because often deities I'm not at that level that the deities will talk to me and say, hey, how come are you speaking harshly? How come you are so proud today? How come? But the Shastras are speaking that. The Guru Sadhu Shastra will speak that. If I have the right consciousness to take it and apply it. And often deities, at very, very elevated states, they may talk. But they are talking actually through Guru Sadhu Shastra. If we take and we have that, our signal tuned to receive that message. Like the waves are there, but we need to tune the FM frequency to the right wave to receive the right signal. Similarly, Prabhupada is speaking. That's Paramatma, in the form Guru, as His Grace Gopeshwar Prabhu, when he came and spoke on Vyasa Puja or Lord Vyasa's appearance, Vyasa Purnima, he said, Guru is talking Kṛṣṇa and walking Kṛṣṇa. I never forget that statement. Guru is talking Kṛṣṇa and walking Kṛṣṇa. Because Kṛṣṇa directly, we say, okay, Arjuna was being guided by Kṛṣṇa in the war battlefield, but how will I be guided? Through the medium of Guru Sadhu Shastra. But we have to tune our frequency. Anything else anyone wants to add or correct or share on this topic? Okay, one quick verse, and that will be the last for today. Anyone who has not read? Yes, Rakesh Prabhu, would you like to read text 40?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Could you share the screen, please?
I'll share the screen.
Sorry, I didn't open the system.
No worries, Prabhu. We are assist. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Please.
Hare Krishna devotees. Tato rachyam harim ke chit samsradhyaya saprayaya upasata upastapi naratadha purushadvisham. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Sometimes a neophyte devotee offers all the paraphernalia for worshipping the Lord, and he factually worships the Lord as the deity, but because he is envious of the authorized devotee of Lord Vishnu, the Lord is never satisfied with his devotional service. Purport. Deity worship is especially meant for purifying the neophyte devotee. Actually, however, preaching is more important. In Bhagavad Gita 18.69, it is said, Nacha tasman manusheshu kashinme priya kritama. If one wants to be recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he must preach the glories of the Lord. One who worships the deity must therefore be extremely respectful to preachers. Otherwise, simply worshipping the deity will keep one in the lower stage of devotion. Prabhuji, please explain.
Thank you so much, Rakesh Prabhu, for reading. So, the symptoms of a Prakrita Bhakta are mentioned here. Okay, for deities, everything. Nice clothes, nice bhoga, etc. Deities, Jai, 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 Haribol, Haribol. And when devotees come, if we are disrespectful or we are ignoring the devotees, ignoring other aspects of bhakti, that's not recommended, Prabhupada is saying. So we don't have to be a Prakrita Bhakta. Now, that doesn't mean we ignore the deities also. Nice balance of all other aspects is required. For example, our mission is mainly preaching mission. And there could be instances that one has to, like for example, if Janmashtami celebrations are going on and is working, one is doing a lot of seva. One may not be able to offer sometimes bhoga also. One is like 10 hours in the temple. There are devotees like that. So Krishna understands that. Even if you offer some nuts, Krishna, today I'm going out for 10 hours, I will not see you. So here's some nuts, please take care of yourself. That's fine. But if the same thing we do, Krishna, I'm going out for sense gratification, you take care of yourself, that's not good. So the point here is that you should not be a Prakrita Bhakta or a neophyte, making a healthy balance of chanting, of preaching. Prabhupada is emphasizing here. He must preach the glories of the Lord. And Prabhupada mentioned there that every Grihastha must have deities, so we can, link that every Grihastha must also preach. Now, that doesn't mean that, every Grihastha has to travel or every Grihastha should travel like how Prabhupada traveled. Preaching is not that complex. Basically, we all need a desire in the heart that yes, Prabhupada's mission, I want to contribute, and that means I must certainly try to the best of my abilities to share Krishna consciousness. And that sharing could be sharing with your neighbor, could be sharing with your colleague, could be sharing with your friend, your relative, could be sharing Krishna Prasad, could be inviting devotees, please come, or please come to my home for dinner. And they don't know what's dinner, they know it's Krishna Prasad. Or giving some, oh, I was passing by your home, here's some Krishna Prasad, here's some laddu for you I made. Bankim Prabhu is known for that, distributing Krishna Prasad. That's a very good way of preaching. Or sometimes, hey, I got to know that you love books. Here's a very nice book, Bhagavad Gita. Or sometimes, hey, we are having some kids program. There's a nice way to teach the culture and values to kids. Please, it'll be nice if you try. But that has to come from the heart. Or at least we have to understand that Prabhupada would be very happy. He's directly mentioning here, as it is. So There are multiple avenues. It's not that preaching means just giving Bhagavatam class. That's not the. In fact, preaching is by example more. That's the prime way. So we must try our best. The idea is, based on our situation, we must do our sadhana nicely, our deity worship, our Bhagavatam study, our family, our work, and our preaching. And why do we do preaching? We have discussed multiple reasons. It's for our own benefit. I went to Tallahassee to Umesh Prabhu, so it's not for benefiting him, but to improve my sadhana. But so that I'm saying, Umesh Prabhu, please take care of the deities. And I've become more cognizant that, I should take care of our deities. Because it really helps. And it was on Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj and many devotees shared this point. And I am sure we all may have experienced this, that if we are speaking something to someone and we are sincere at heart, then a thing will come in the heart. Yeah, I'm telling this person to chant attentively. How attentively am I chanting? So nice balance. Nice balance is required. Then our life will be perfect. Any comments, questions, additions anyone has?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Very, very inspiring class. And thank you so much for sharing what you shared from your heart. And thank you for giving the class such a so prepared class despite rigorous travels over last 3 days. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. You're so much absorbed in preaching, which is Prabhupada's very, very main service. So thank you so much. Any other comments, questions before we stop for today? Okay, so we will pause here and continue. So we're almost towards the end of the chapter, maybe in 1 or 2 more settings. So as we generally suggest, please read the translations again. In fact, we will be completing the chapter tomorrow. There are only 2 more verses left. So please go through the chapter again and we'll take some reflections tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. Panchakalpatarubhi.
Satyasna Kripa Sindhubhyo Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Hare Krishna.